as it happens. Let's start with the Zimbabwe opposition politician Job Sikhala. He is appearing in a Pretoria court in South Africa following his arrest for possession of commercial explosives. And he is, to discuss this further, we are joined on the line by his lawyer Eric Mabusa, and our reporter Ditaba Zotezi will also follow us. Ditaba, good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, and thank you for
joining us on Africa Update. Now, Ditaba, talk to us. Sikhala has he appeared in court yet? What is happening there on the ground?
Oh yes, Job Sikhala and his co-accused, his uncle, they briefly appeared at the Pretoria Magistrate Court, facing charges of being in possession of explosives. We know that they were arrested late last week in Pretoria. We understand that Job Sikhala was on his way to Zimbabwe when he was arrested, but the matter today was postponed to this coming Wednesday because the state says that they still needed to verify his legality in the country, whether he's in the country legally or illegally. So on Wednesday, yes, they will hear the formal bail application for both of them. But his uncle, we understand that he is legal in the country. The only matter that they need to verify is that of Job Sikhala.
All right, very quickly, just in wrapping up, ZANU-PF has disputed allegations that it was involved in Sikhala's arrest. Any takes on that?
Yes, ZANU-PF says now they are not involved in his arrest, but his supporters here in South Africa and in Zimbabwe, they say they suspect a foul play because they say a person of his caliber is not capable of being in possession of explosives. He's not a violent person. And we also understand that he was arrested many times in Zimbabwe. So they say because of he is against the administration of the current president, Emmerson Mnangagwa. We know that Emmerson is seeking for a third term in Zimbabwe. So he's being against that move, and his supporters
that extension. Yeah.
Yes, the extension is. So his supporters say they are suspecting the foul play here.
Okay, Ditaba, we are going to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining us on Africa Update. That's our reporter, Ditaba Zodezi, who was in the court in Pretoria today, where Job Sikhala and his uncle have been remanded until Wednesday for another appearance with regards to their arrest. You're listening to Africa Update, coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa on DSTV's audio bouquet channel 802, OpenView channel 628, and on www.channelafrica.co.za, as well as on the SABC Plus app, available on the Apple and Google Play stores. I'm Lulu Gaboo, and joining me from Auckland Park are Onele Nzinzi, Msibudi Makura, and Chandugo Ligege. A lot coming up on Africa Update today. There's a lot of excitement, a hype of activity, and I have sitting with me the Minister of Water Affairs, and we will come to her and just unpack what Al-Sisa is all about.
A atenção do mundo está em Joanesburgo. Líderes das maiores economias do planeta reúnem-se para tomar decisões que irão moldar o futuro das nações e dos mercados. O Channel África está no centro dos acontecimentos a trazer-lhe as conversas, análises e perspectivas que realmente importam. A cimeira do G20 nos dias 22 e 23 de novembro, sob uma perspectiva africana em tempo real. Acompanhe tudo no Channel África.
Siyabangena manje. Vito iJabulani Kolele iMagoda. Jabulani is a young man from Giyani in Limpopo in South Africa. Very easy guy, taking things easy. To know me is to know that I love what I do, which I'm crazy about it. So when you hear me on radio, expect the best. Expect great music. Expect great content. Expect 180 minutes of nothing but fun. You'll find me on the morning reset, 3 to 6 a.m., Monday to Friday. siyabangena ay 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 ngibuleke
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
It is 12 after 12 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. South Africa's Water and Sanitation Minister, Phemi Majodina, is in attendance at the first Africa Water and Sanitation Technical Conference underway in Johannesburg in the Gauteng province of the country. It is set to be a groundbreaking event addressing critical water and sanitation challenges while showcasing Africa-focused solutions and innovations. And to speak to us further about why this conference is important for South Africa and Africa as a whole, we are joined live from this venue by Minister Majodina. Minister Majodina, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu, and to your viewers of Channel Africa. Thank you for having us today.
Now, let's talk about this critical conference. It comes at a very critical time for South Africa, and not only South Africa, but the African continent as a whole. Let's talk about the importance of such a conference for the continent.
Indeed, Lulu and the viewers at home, you'll remember that March 27 and 28, South Africa hosted Water and Sanitation in Durban. We came up with 60 non-negotiables so that people can have water. There are things that certain levels of municipalities and government were supposed to do. That was in March. In September, we started to review how far did they go, only to find out we are standing at 45%. Who attended to those issues like non-revenue water, illegal connections, water tankering, correct billing. So we found out there are municipalities that are really committed in that. In August 13, August 15, August, we hosted a AU Water Investment Summit where we got a commitment from the investors of between 10 and 12 billion per year. We submitted a bankable project across the continent. So now we are at the stage where those projects are supposed to be implemented. But this one today, it comes as a result that we've been going around the world seeking for partners, looking at the state of water and how they attend to their water. For instance, in Finland is a very small country, 5.6 million, but their water infrastructure is something that one can learn out of. There is no waste treatment plant that we can see anywhere on the street. So we took our CISA as well as Rainwater to say what are the exchange programs that we can come up with. Because there is a political will from all of us. But if you look at Johannesburg, you look at Tshwane, you look at eThekwini, the main challenge is the non-revenue water, which make us to consume more water. But now we are saying to these entities that are here today and technocrats, give us something that will make eThekwini, Johannesburg, to stop water leaks. Bring a new methodology that they can use, because they need those technologies so that they can save water. So today they are no longer going to rehash what we've agreed upon. Theirs is to say, how do they implement that? As we do that, we next week will be hosting the SADC groundwater a conference, because we have all of a sudden neglected groundwater. Groundwater is good to augment the surface water. We still have enough water in terms of surface water, but we must come up with other means. In rural areas, they don't have neither access to surface water or a groundwater. So we want to make an impact on how do our people get water.
And what are you finding from what has taken place so far in Alcisa in this conference in terms of, the different plenaries and the different tech people who are here on the ground and the solutions that they are bringing forward, especially with the fact that it's not only people from the African continent, but it is people from across the globe?
Yes. No, those friends outside the globe, they are saying, we want to bring our expertise, open up. We are working with some in Mfuleni. On Friday, the 14th, will be at Mfuleni to launch the long spoken about a special purpose vehicle. That special purpose vehicle will be the one that is responsible for water. They are going to ring fence sales of water. They are going to attend to everything that has to do with money. So we're delinking that account and its operation from municipality. Because what usually happens is that when municipalities run short of petty cash, they tend to take from water sales. So we're saying water sales is a no. So as we pilot that, there is a lot of appetite from other municipalities who, of course, are owing our water boards. So we want to assist them to ensure that they have these SPVs, even if it's concessions, so that we lift the relief on our municipalities. Our municipalities are suffering. Well, they are owed 24.8 billion by municipalities, so they need to be assisted, those municipalities.
What are we finding on the ground where we see a lot of protest action taking place? Just the other day, I just can't remember the town, but there was protest action.
Yes.
Police had to be called in, and crowds had to be dispersed, but people are crying about water. And you see Ukoko walking in the streets in a gown, in her duk, crying about and wheelbarrows, and crying about how they have to walk distances to get water and drinkable water. Why are we seeing that there is, as you said, there's a major shortfall? And in terms of supply, it becomes a challenge where the trucks that need to come and bring in the water doesn't come at a certain time, or it goes to different points and not other points. How do we get that right for now?
You see, Lulu, what is happening is that the mandate of the Department of Water and Sanitation is that of regulation and providing bulk water supply, which we give to our water boards. But reticulation and provision thereof, according to the Constitution, it is the sole responsibility of municipalities. That is where things are not happening. As you come here, you jump water going down the street. That's a clean, treated water. That is not supposed to be on the street. That is supposed to be in the reservoir and go to the communities. So communities are not informed when the reservoirs are not up to standard to keep that water. We running short of reservoirs. For instance, here in Johannesburg, they are running short of 18 reservoirs. So as long as they run short of 18 reservoirs, as we pump water, the water will be spilling down to the street. Two, communities are not informed on time. If there is a maintenance that is going to happen, communities must be informed on time, so that they can prepare themselves. But the issue of water tankering is one of the mafia activity that is happening, because that water tankering, it does not come because it was requested by municipalities. What happened first? They vandalized the infrastructure. The water, you get water gushing, then you have to go and procure water tanker. Our conference took a decision that all municipalities must in-source water tankers, so that there are people who are every time monitoring where there is no water, they must get there. But now they don't monitor, they issue a tender. When they issue a tender, if the water tankering is saying we're going to deliver 20,000 liters of water, who is with that water tanker to see that the water is delivered? But also, some water delivered very far from communities. We have elderly people, people with disabilities. So in Gauteng, we have assisted them to say, especially around informal settlement, let them focus on groundwater and let them meter water according to their household. So if we can implement all that, This thing can be the things of the past, but municipalities must ring fence water sales so that they can operate and maintain our infrastructure. This infrastructure is where it is today because it is not maintained.
Now, Minister, before I wrap up with you, I'm already being told that time is up, but while we have you here, your expectation for this conference and just in terms of time frames, because it is also about a talk shop, and there must be deliverables, there must be accountability and time frames put in place going forward to see the outcomes of such conferences.
We allocate 2 grants to municipalities: water service infrastructure grant as well as a regional park infrastructure grant. For the past 3-4 years, we found out municipalities have not used that money, and that money goes back to Treasury. So we're intervening now, because when we allocated them, that money is under Schedule 5B. Now we're intervening and take that money as Schedule 6B. What does 6B mean? It means we're going to appoint any relevant entity to be our implementing agent to go and give our people money. It is painful to see money going back to the fiscus, whereas people don't have water. So out of this, we expect to be given a package to say package A in Rustenburg, there are about 7 incomplete projects. Therefore, we are appointing this company to be, or this entity to be the sole, the implementing agent on behalf of the department, because we are able to monitor them. But if you just give money to municipality, they appoint very inferior service providers who out of 3 months they ran out of money. So we must give more money. So now we're saying where there is money, let's change the schedule and do something as if they were not there. So we must take over.
And now you mentioned something that's very key, not up to standard service providers who then get paid. What happens then to the money that's already been paid to these suppliers, and are they held accountable?
They are held accountable. If I may say to you, already 53 million has been recovered through SIU, because we report them. Others have been liquidated, but we go to an extent, assisted by SIU, to take even the assets. Because you can't just put people who don't even have an engineer, but they have a water company. The water business has been seen as this scheme of quick money, and this is what we're fighting now.
Minister Majordina, we could go on and on because there's so much to unpack, but we have run out of time and are going to leave it there for today. But quickly, a takeaway for all the African continent representatives of all the different countries that are here at this conference. What is their takeaway?
Their takeaway is that their presidents and cabinets, they must prioritize water as number one. If we don't do that, there will be no socio-economic development, there will be no livelihoods, and already it's very clear in the continent. If you look at Ethiopia and Egypt, they can't be fighting about water, about Nile River. We are not fighting about Singu, we are not fighting about any other river. We are surrounded by rivers. We work very well with Botswana, Swatini, Lesotho, as well as Namibia. So we are saying, as Africans, let's share water. We grew up sharing things. Thank you.
Minister Majordina, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update.
Thank you very much, Lulu.
That was South Africa's Water and Sanitation Minister, Phemi Majordina, joining us live here from the Emperor's Palace in Johannesburg, where the ALCISA conference is underway. This is the first Africa Water and Sanitation Technical Conference underway in Johannesburg in the Gauteng province of South Africa, with people from all over the world making a presence here to also get some ideas of how to handle water issues across the continent and the globe. You're listening to Africa Update, coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. It is 26 after 12 Central African time.
Where Africa's technology meets the world. From the 10th to the 13th of November in Cape Town, join global leaders, investors and innovators driving the future of Africa's digital economy. Don't miss the continent's biggest week in tech. Get your pass now at africatechfestival.com.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
It is 27 after 12 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa on DSTV's audio bouquet channel 802, OpenView channel 628, and on www.channelafrica.co.za, as well as on the SABC Plus app, available on the Apple and Google Play stores.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Now, the Association of Water and Sanitation Institutions in South Africa, ALSISA, is hosting the first Africa Water and Sanitation Technical Conference underway in Johannesburg in the Gauteng province of South Africa. Now, the conference, which runs till the 12th of November, will address a number of issues, including sanitation access, water quality, and youth and women in water. And to tell us more, we are joined right here live from the Emperor's Palace, where the ALSISA conference, the first ALSISA conference, is underway in South Africa, is Mr. Ramuteu Munyokolo, who is the VIP, basically, chairperson, Randwater chairperson. And thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update. I hope I didn't butcher your surname, Munyokolo.
Munyokolo, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Now, how important is this conference, ALSISA, it being the first held in South Africa and as a South African initiative?
Greetings to you and your listeners. The Association of Water and Sanitation represents the Water Board, Catchment Management Agencies, the Water Research Commission, and the Trans-Caledon Channel Authority. Therefore, it represents the water sector at the point of water provision. And our customers are mainly municipalities. For years, such conferences have been held by business people that had nothing to do with the sector except to profit from it. So what we say now is that the sector is now organizing its own conference and to deal with challenges of the sector, and we're prioritizing issues around professionalization of the sector. We're focusing on issues around youth development in the sector, issues around women in water, dealing with issues around dealing with non-revenue water, collaboration with municipalities who are in terms of the law, the water services authorities. They are the ones that provide water in terms of the Water Services Act. We provide bulk water, mainly as ALSISA members. We do research and related matters. We also, the conference focuses on collaboration. We have continental and international guests where we are going to collaborate with them. We've already signed several memorandums of agreement with the Finnish Water Forum, Water Sweden, with the department itself. We signed that during their summit, the investment AU, AIP, G20, Water and Sanitation Summit that was held earlier in this year in August. We signed a memorandum of cooperation with the Department of Water and Sanitation.
And what does that memorandum entail? What does it bring for South Africa? Is it a case of knowledge and skills development? How far does it go?
It deals with issues of professionalization of the sector, which is basically ensuring that there's sharing of knowledge within the sector, but with institutions of higher learning locally and internationally. It deals with issues of water security, which is issues of infrastructure development, maintenance. It deals with issues of payment of services by both municipalities, communities, government departments, and everybody that uses the water must pay for the water. It also includes issues around pollution to ensure that, because once the water is polluted, it means that the cost of production for water boards will be higher, and that cost will be passed over to citizens. Therefore, it's important that we also look after our water sources.
Now, you know, time is not on our side, and I was hoping to just take this even further. If you could afford us some time to just have a continuation after our headlines and sports updates, I really appreciate that.
Will be available now.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
All right. That is the chairperson of Rand Water joining us live here from the Emperor's Palace. And this is the Alcisa conference, the first conference which is underway in Johannesburg in South Africa. And he will, Mr. Ramutewu Monyokolo, will continue with us after our headlines and sports update.
Headlines. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Lulu. Sources in Sudan say the paramilitary rapid support forces are detaining more than 50,000 civilians in 5 locations across Al-Fashir and North Darfur, preventing them from leaving the city. The Judicial Commission of Inquiry into Unprosecuted Apartheid-era crimes in South Africa has officially begun its work today. Chaired by retired Constitutional Court Justice C.C. Kampembe, the commission seeks to uncover why hundreds of cases identified by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 1995 for possible prosecution were never pursued. And officials in Belgium say 3 drones have been detected flying above one of the country's 2 nuclear power plants. Channel Africa News, I am Onelin Nsinzi.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective. Sports. On Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
And a very good morning from the afternoon, from the sports desk. I am Musibudi Makura with your latest sports news at the Sawa. We'll start with the story. So Uganda have now moved to end any speculation over the future of Paul Pat by extending the head coach's contract to 2028, a vote of confidence that also comes just 1 month before the Cranes head into the 2025 Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations tournament in Morocco. Now, the Federation of Uganda Football Associations confirmed the renewal in Kampala, framing the decision as a commitment to stability as well as continuity ahead of a pivotal 2-year cycle that also includes the AFCON 2027 on home soil. Now, FUFA president said that they're extending the contract of Paul Pat beyond the senior side to the Chan team as well as the under-23s, with the Belgian also to continue leading strategy and player selection across the men's pathway. FUFA executive officer, that is Edgar Watson, also acknowledged recent uncertainty and also used the announcement to calm any nerves. At the same time, the vice president, Justice Mugisha, said the extension also reflects performance as well as alignment with FUFA's technical master plan. He also added that the executive committee found his renewal straightforward. Pat, who took charge back in 2023, said the decision reinforces the federation's trust as Uganda targets a strong AFCON as well as a deep run when the country co-host in 2027. Looking ahead, Pat also stressed unity as well as progress for the team. Now, with the AFCON window also looming and 2 high-profile friendly friendly matches on the diary. Uganda's message is clear, that is continuity on the touchline, clarity of purpose, as well as a push to convert recent promise, that is the CHAN quarterfinals and a near miss in World Cup qualifying, into major tournament impact. Back home now, South African football side Kaizer Chiefs are looking to use their run in this season's CAF Confederation Cup group stages to mount a serious challenge for the return to the CAF Champions League. Now, this is going to prove to be a serious challenge in a season where Mamelodi Sundowns is under threat from Orlando Pirates and Chiefs as well as Sekhukhune United, amongst others. Only the top two teams in the league will qualify for the CAF Champions League. CAF has also been mooting the idea of a top league on the continent, having more representation in the CAF interclub competitions. But until then, Amakosi Sporting Director Kaizer Motaung Jr. says they will continue to fight.
Definitely, a team of our size wants to be in the Champions League, and we haven't been in Africa for a while. And I think the Confederations Cup is a very welcome step from our progression from last year. Of course, you want to be in Champions League, you want to fight amongst the best, you want to be amongst the best. I think the star is something that everyone knows as a big club you need to have. That is a long-term objective, and we're pushing as best we can to make sure we can do that. And you want to be amongst the best. Chiefs needs to be on the biggest stage, so we're going to give all our best to make sure that we can be.
On to rugby news now. The Springboks' 32-17 victory over France in Paris over the weekend has extended their lead over the second-place All Blacks of New Zealand in the World Rugby Rankings. Now, the Boks are now 1.71 ranking points ahead of their arch-rivals, who beat 8th-placed Scotland 25-17 at Murrayfield over the weekend. Italy, meanwhile, remain in 10th position despite upsetting the 7th-placed Wallabies of Australia 26-19 also over the weekend, but have now closed the gap on 9th place Fiji, who lost 38-18 to 4th placed England at Twickenham. Now 6th placed Argentina are now within 2.65 ranking points of France after hammering Wales 52-28 in Cardiff, with the Dragons staying in 16th position. And finally, in tennis news, Serbian superstar Novak Djokovic has decided not to participate at the ATP finals for a second consecutive season following his marathon final win at the ATP 250 in Athens over the weekend. Now, Djokovic won his 101st ATP title after defeating Italian Lorenzo Musetti 4-6, 6-3 and 7-5 in a hard-fought 3-hour battle on Saturday. However, Djokovic announced also that he will skip the ATP finals in Turin, Italy, despite qualifying for a record-equaling 18th time in his illustrious career. The decision means Musetti will replace Djokovic at the ATP finals, this despite the loss in Greece denying him an automatic qualifying spot. And that's a wrap of your sports news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, remember to send us an email. That's to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Alternatively, call us on +27 11714 4459. I'm back with more sports news in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibu Di Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Conversations are happening, and Channel Africa is at the heart of them. We tell the African story with clarity, pride, and purpose, reaching audiences that matter to your brand. Partner with us and connect your business with listeners across borders in multiple languages and markets. For partnership opportunities, sponsorship, or sales, email us at partnership@channelafrica.co.za. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Lulu. Urban consumer price inflation quickened to 12.5% in October. Data from Statistics Agency CAPMA suggests that the uptick in inflation comes amid a series of economic reforms and tightening from the Central Bank of Egypt, including recent fuel price increases and wage adjustments. While the rate remains well below the 38% peak seen in September 2023. Sibanye, Stillwater and Appian Capital Advisory have agreed a $215 million settlement over the South African miners' termination of a $1.2 billion deal to buy the investment firm's Brazilian nickel and copper mines. Last year, London's High Court ordered Sibanye to compensate Appian for the failed deal. According to a statement by both companies, the agreement was announced a day before court proceedings to determine the monetary award. In other news, the first Africa Water and Sanitation Technical Conference got underway yesterday in Johannesburg, South Africa. It is said to be a groundbreaking event addressing critical water and sanitation challenges while showcasing Africa-focused solutions and innovations. The summit, which ends on Wednesday, has brought together all water and sanitation entities, including the Department of Water and Sanitation, municipalities and the country's water boards. Sandile Mkhize is the chief executive of Umgeni, Tugela Water Board.
The purpose of the dialogue is not to continue coming up with new plans, because we know that what are the challenges we are facing in South Africa, but we are saying, let's press a reset button. The reset that will say, let's stop what we are doing and then look at what is it that we can do and do it better, and put time frames and put resources, even if it means we have to pool expertise and knowledge so that we can be able to ensure that water problems is addressed.
The U.S. Senate has passed a deal that looks set to be the first stage in a process to end the longest government shutdown in American history. The breakthrough came after 8 Democratic senators agreed to support a Republican stopgap measure to extend government funding until the end of January. The BBC's Nomia Iqbal has more.
Trouble began at El Oro No. 1 detention centre in Mashala when at 3 in the morning on Sunday the authorities began transferring inmates to a new maximum security facility. The riot stemmed from gang opposition to the transfers, which they viewed as a threat to their drug operations. Prisoners first overpowered the guards. During the battle by police to regain control, 4 inmates were shot dead. A subsequent search revealed 27 inmates had died by asphyxiation, hanged with bedsheets in their cells.
Oil prices have risen today on optimism that the U.S. government shutdown could end soon and lift demand in the world top oil consumer, offsetting concerns about rising supplies globally. Brent crude futures rose 47 U.S. cents to $64.10 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $60.25 a barrel, up 50 cents. Now let's have a look at financial indicators at this hour. $1 US in Nigeria is 1,000 Naira 435. In Botswana, 13 Pula 132. Kenya, the dollar is 128 shilling 2. Zambia, 22 Kwacha 64. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 Real 33. In Russia, 80 rubles 88. India, 88 rupees 62. China, 71.29. South Africa, 17 rand 58 cents. $1 is 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Commodities: gold is trading at $4,082. Platinum at $1,573 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $63.93 a barrel. That's all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Keep Africa in your hands. Connect to our website for all your news, sports, and cultural updates. channelafrica.co.za. Your window to the continent and beyond. Africa Update. Only on Channel Africa. Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
It is 12:40. It is 12:45 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from the first ALCISA, which is basically the first water and sanitation conference, which is Africa Water and Sanitation Technical Conference, underway at the Emperor's Palace in Johannesburg in the Gauteng province of South Africa. And earlier on, we're having a conversation with the chairperson of ALCISA and Rand Water, that's Ramutewu Munyokole. And we are unpacking this even further. I asked him to stay on with us so that we can just continue the conversation we were having. Thank you again for staying with us. And just to go back to, where we were in terms of how now does this conference impact not only South Africa but the African continent and globally in terms of what South Africa's takeaway, as well as the African continent, other countries that are here with representation, the takeaway for them.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, the theme of the conference is towards sustainable water and sanitation security in Africa. We quite often or not, we make the assumption that South Africa or Africa goes out into the world to learn. Of course, we go out to learn, but we think that we also have the best technologies. We have the best systems in the country that other people can learn from. So if you talk about what is their takeaway, one is that there are huge opportunities in South Africa. We lose about 50 plus minus 50% of the water that we provide as water boards that we provide to municipalities is lost in the infrastructure. Meaning, if we provide 10 billion liters of water a day, 5 billion liters is lost on a daily basis. So for international or potential investors that are here, it's an opportunity for them to invest in the sector. However, the challenge is that it's not easy to just invest in municipalities. One of our members, Rainwater, is now entering into a special purpose vehicle, which is wherein water and sanitation services will be hived off from the municipality and owned by a special purpose company that will bring in new technology that will ensure that there's water that is provided to communities. That on its own, it will be owned by the municipality and Randwater. The majority shareholder will be Randwater. It gives an opportunity for the investors to come in and invest in such an environment. Currently, it will be difficult for them to do that.
All right. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but hopefully we'll be able to speak to you just to do a wrap-up of the conference and as a whole in terms of the attendance and what you feel will be a good thing for delegates who have come through from different parts of the world. And as you say, South Africa is not only looking to learning from other countries and water sanitation, facilities and so on, and also they can learn from us as South Africa. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for staying with us and giving us your time. That is the chairperson, ALCISA chairperson and Rand Water, and he is Mr. Ramutewu Munyokole, joining us live here from the Emperor's Palace.
App.
Well, it is 12:50 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from. It is 12:50 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. We are at the Emperor's Palace at the first Africa Water and Sanitation Technical Conference, which is hosted by ALCISA. And we go back to studio and find out who is there from the Upside team. And to Matseko, you are there. I'm told it is Matseko. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update. What's coming up today?
In the next 9 minutes as we kick off the Upside. So every Monday we talk property. Very excited for us to look at property trends for the year 2025. Of course, we're already wrapping up the year, so it's a good time to actually look at what's been happening in the property market, and we're going to be using South Africa as an example. Also coming through, the year 2025 marks the pivotal 30th anniversary of the United Nations 4th World Conference on Women gentlemen, and it's going to be taking place in Beijing. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what that gathering is all about. So all of that and all the regular bits and pieces coming through with Tebogo and Matsheko 2 to 4 p.m., or rather 1 to 4 p.m.
Africa Update on Channel Africa.
That is Matsuko Musido. That is Matsuko Musido from the Upside team coming up at the top of the hour. We continue here live at the Emperor's Palace. It is the first Africa Water and Sanitation Technical Conference, ALCISA, and I am joined here by Pasi Helman, who is Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Finland, and he was a speaker here. And Pasi, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Now, this is the first of its kind. Well, first, our CISA conference, which is a technical conference, which is underway for the next couple of days. It started yesterday. Tell us about what you are finding and what you are experiencing in terms of, the different speakers. You're a speaker, and there's a lot that you focused on. Just tell us about that and what it means for such conferences.
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate South African government and South African water sector actors, all organizations and people working for the sector in this country for this very great initiative. I think water sector, water management, water and sanitation, water as human right, as we see it in Finland, these are very important issues, and it's very welcome that South Africa is taking this kind of initiative to focus on this sector, not only here in South Africa, but more broadly in the African continent and even beyond that.
And with that, I spoke to the Minister of Water and Sanitation here in South Africa earlier, and she touched on the fact that in Finland, your system is very interesting. So tell us about the systems that you have in Finland, and what sort of work should be done for South Africa to get to that point, even though population-wise, it's totally different.
The Minister for Water and Sanitation actually visited Finland some time ago, and we're very happy that she is sharing her observations and experience from that trip. In Finland, basically, we take water management, water issues very very seriously, being sort of a basic services for which the government is responsible for. In general terms, we try to build upon trust between our people, population, and the government, and that's particularly important in the provision of basic services such as water. We want to emphasize that everything we do when it comes to water and sanitation has to be done on a sustainable manner. We have developed, or our companies and experts have developed various types of solutions that improve the sustainability in working with water issues, and I think those kind of solutions are available also to our South African partners, and we want to sort of exchange experiences and know-how. A lot of it, of course, is business transactions between our companies in Finland and companies in South Africa. But I would say it's more than that. It's very much working together, collaborating, co-creating, finding new solutions, new innovations that can be beneficial for both countries. Maybe one more thing, if you allow.
Please go ahead.
You said earlier that this is a technical conference. I would say that it's also technical and political and sort of a business-oriented conference, because we really can share experiences and learn from one another.
And in terms of, you speak of partnerships and you speak of work going forward and sharing and learning from one another. What do you think most countries need to learn from Finland? Because the countries that are represented here are also looking for solutions, especially not only on the African continent, but across the globe.
Of course, many countries can learn from one another. I'm not saying that Finland has the best solutions for everything possible when it comes to water management or water and sanitation. But like I said, we have a lot of experience and history in working with water, and we are among the most sustainable societies and countries in the world. So we have that kind of a DNA that we try to do things on a sort of a sustainable and equal to all kind of manner. We have actually made a memorandum of understanding between Finland and South Africa on collaborating on water issues, and it's been amazing how quickly that kind of a collaboration has deepened and expanded. So we are talking about very concrete projects ongoing as we speak.
Now, it is day 2, and there's a lot more to come. What are you looking forward to for the next couple of days?
I'm actually here with a fairly large delegation from Finland. There's an organization called the Finnish Water Forum, which is sort of an umbrella organization for all the water sector actors in Finland, be they businesses or governmental organizations or non-governmental organizations or research institutions. And they have found very good partners in the South African water sector. So I'm very much hoping that these kind of contacts can be expanded and deepened, because there's clearly an interest on both sides.
On both sides.
And I'm not a water expert myself,
Okay.
so I'm very happy that experts in 2 countries who are interested in similar issues in the same sector have found each other and are interacting.
Thank you so much, Passy, for joining us. It's been a very interesting conversation, but I can't speak to you in person and then not ask about Finland being ranked as the happiest country in the world 8 years in a row. Just tell us how this is happening.
Well, that's actually true. It's 8 years in a row that we have been ranked as the happiest country in the world. Sometimes we ourselves are wondering how come that's possible.
Okay.
Because we see, of course, happy people, happy nations all over the world. Maybe the word that can sort of complement the happiness aspect in our case is that the people are fairly content in the sort of way the society is working, in the way that basic services are being provided and delivered, and with our tradition of putting a lot of emphasis on equality, gender equality, attention to vulnerable groups, people with disabilities, etc. So we like to try and keep everybody on board, not leaving anybody behind, so that probably contributes to this overall content among the population, and maybe that's another way of saying something about happiness.
Yeah. Well, Passy, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update.
Thank you.
That is Water, Trade and Development Ministry representative for Foreign Affairs of Finland, Mr. Passy Hellman, and he is joining us live here from Alcisa, that is underway at Emperor's Palace in Johannesburg in the Gauteng province of the country. And I guess this is the first day of Alcisa. Africa Update live here. Continue with us on our social media platforms and get as much information as you can with regard to what is happening at this conference. Speaking to a number of different people today, tomorrow, and on Wednesday. And it is quite an exciting time, because this is the first Africa Water and Sanitation Technical Conference hosted by Alcisa, which is underway for the next couple of days. And that's a wrap of Africa Update. And we will do this again tomorrow. We are back here at the Emperor's Palace, and continue with us on our socials. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.